Felix here, and welcome to this pre-market live stream on a day that could not be any madder. You can't make this up. Tariffs gone, but they'll be back. That's what Goldman Sachs are saying as one of the smartest banks on Wall Street. It basically warned their customers before they warned the market, of course, saying, we're not going to go into an era of zero tariffs. Instead, something else is going to happen. I'm going to explain that to you so you are as well informed as Goldman's finest clients, who I'm sure are lovely people. Winston is also joining us, of course, here, who looks a little bit sleepy in his under a towel because it's monsoon season. Actually, one of my favorite seasons of the year. It's just like rain and the toads are in charge and the snails are everywhere and it's sort of glorious, really. Well, if you're French, it's probably really, really glorious. But if we look at the pre-market here, and I'll show you straight away. There we go. It's looking pretty green. Nvidia rallying not just because of the Trump tariffs, but because of earnings, which were actually pretty extraordinary. Tesla green, Amazon green, Apple green, Microsoft, Google, Meta, Palantir, you name it. Almost everything is green. But there is always a but, isn't there? There is always a but. So we're going to dive into this in some great detail here. And I've got the actual full note for you from Goldman Sachs because Winston's got some pretty good connections, don't you, Winston? I don't know how you sniff this stuff out, but he gets sent everything. Here we go. So we're going to walk through that. But before we do, first, I want to teach you something that the moment you learn it, not only are you going to be more clear on what to do, more importantly, you will forever be able to implement a better strategy to build wealth for yourself and your family, because that's really what matters, right? We want to impact the lives of those we care about in a positive way. Who's with me on that? Put a 1 in the chat if you're with me on that one. And now this is literally something that tens of thousands of you have been asking for. And I taught just over 3,000 people live the other day, and I saw how it clicked, and I know you're going to love this. So for the first and undoubtedly the last time, I'm going to teach you on a Sunday so that all you 9-to-5ers or you wage slaves can speed up your retirement plans. And it's just actually to help you guys out. And we'll take another 1,000 people for free. It'll be live. We'll probably go for 2 hours, and depending on how many questions you ask me, and I'll give you the actual criteria that the most successful stock investors look at that separates, well, the facts from the fiction, the noise from what actually really matters, and helps you find the good companies, because there are a lot of really, really good companies which are on sale right now. But before you rush out to buy them randomly, join me on Sunday for this live webinar, and I'll literally teach you how to pick great long-term stocks. And it'll help you retire sooner. It'll help you retire better. And it's literally, it's messages like this. And people often ask me, like, why do you bother doing this? I'm like, well, this is actually why. Let me share this with you. This one kid pits pretty deep. Scott's a student of mine. He's quadriplegic. So he's got a little bit bigger issues than most people in life. And this is what he just wrote to us literally today. It's been amazing. Since you helped me sign up, I've not had a single day where I lost any money. The guy trades. You know how he trades? He can't move his fingers. He nudges the screen. Incredible stuff. And he says, it's just getting fun at this point. The biggest focus to walk away at the end of every successful day and say, thank you, God, so much for bringing the opportunity and the wisdom. And then he says also, you know, I really appreciate what you guys are all doing. That's why we do what we do. That's why my mentors give up their time and their retirement time to teach you guys, because it's insanely satisfying getting those messages. So if you want to stop losing money, literally, this is a start at the base level, right? Stop losing money, because that's actually when you really start making money. Come and join me on Sunday. There's a link down below. I'll also put it in the link here for you. There it is, felixprehn.org/webinar. I'll pin it to the chat as well, so you guys can't miss it, and you can click on that one. 4 a.m. to 4 p.m. slave. Wow, that's a little harsh even for that. But yeah, so come and join me Sunday, felixprehn.org/webinar, links down below. Now we're going to go and we're going to sit and we're going to read the full 49-page judgment, because no, we're not going to do that, but I do have it here. So what just happened? Well, the United States Court of International Trade basically said, well, most of Trump's tariff hikes are, well, illegal. Not lawful is perhaps a better word. And that would include the tariffs on Canada, China, Mexico, the 10% baseline tariff, but, and this is important, not sectoral tariffs. So this is just one way that Trump can put in tariffs as El Presidente. He has at least two other ways he can put in tariffs. And one of those is Section 122, and one of them is Section 301. Again, we don't really go into that. But basically, what they're saying here, and Goldman's is right on this, I believe, that they could quickly replace the 10% across-the-board tariff with a similar tariff, up to 15% under this different law. And those tariffs would only last 150 days, and then Congress would need to extend it. Although, in theory, they could expire on day 150. They could be off for one day, and then Trump could put them back in, but that gets a little bit iffy. Also, they could launch investigations on key trading partners, which would then kick off once completed, take a couple of weeks probably. They could put in tariffs under a different law, which is Section 301, which I understand could be significantly higher. And what then would happen is that, so basically it's a 1930s Trade Act, and it would allow the president to put up to 50% tariffs on imports from countries that discriminate against the US. But you have to go through the rigmarole of writing a report. And that's another option here. So 50%, maybe, which is why he's coming up with the 50% rule lately, because they kind of realized they're obviously going to get challenged. So this does not mean tariffs have gone away. No, they're just going to come back in a slightly different form. They'll still be there. So I don't think it really makes a difference. The market's liking it. I mean, futures are up, pre-market's up, and that's nice. We can enjoy that. But I would be a little cautious on things like this because, well, the market gets a little overexcited, and then it tends to pull back a little bit here. So who does that make some sense for? That makes some sense for the right sense or an S in the chat while I open another bottle of vodka here. Now, this is my famous GAC juice, which is the sponsor of this channel. It's a small farmer. No, I'm kidding. We don't have sponsors. Actually, literally every single day, people pitch me to endorse something or other. And I never will, because you just don't know what other people are making. You don't know if the product's any good. You don't know if how do you know, right? I don't know. So I don't want to recommend anything that I don't really know and use myself. So therefore, I just simply don't. And I hope that gives you guys a little bit of a better, if I take money from, I don't know, a particular stock and then I make a video about it, well, how independent is that, right? If I own the stock, I'll tell you, but I never take money from anybody, never will, because that's not the point of this. The point here is to have some fun. And that's what we're doing here. GAC, indeed. This stuff is very good. Very good. I should probably start a GAC brand. That's also not going to happen, by the way. No freaking way. I've made a lot of stuff that we bottled. I have a wine business, if you didn't realize that, and we've literally bottled tens of millions of bottles, and it's a pain in the neck to make physical products, so no thank you. Right. You're the sponsor of GAC Juice. Yeah, that's probably true. It's about $100 a bottle, so yes, I'm probably the sponsor. Actually, Winston's the sponsor, aren't you, Winston? He looks so pooped, doesn't he? He was so active just now when the toads were out and about. All right, then, shall we look at what else is moving in the market and our favorite stocks here this morning? If you want me to do that, type a 1 in the chat. Who's going to join me on Sunday? Write Sunday or just S or SUN or something in the chat. And I know you're going to join me on Sunday because literally so many of you, we've done these on Saturdays even, and people are still working on Saturdays. I'm like, surely someday you guys are not working. So Sunday is surely that day. Sunday evening, I think most people should have a little bit of time to learn the key thing that could actually set you free. It looks like a Bloody Mary mix. Yes, a little bit like that. Actually, I used to like Bloody Marys as well. I stopped drinking a few years ago, so it doesn't really matter anymore. I'm seeing a lot of S's in here. Brilliant, guys. I look forward to seeing you. We're going to have a brilliant Sunday. Now, touch of a warning. And first of all, the next segment here is going to be slightly gloomy, and then we're going to go back into excitement. Why is that? Because you lot stopped buying stocks. This is retail, right? You were relied upon to buy all the stocks that the hedge funds were selling. They call you exit liquidity. That's a real thing, by the way. slowest retail buying last week of all of 2024. So you guys are getting exhausted, right? We need to keep going a little bit, and maybe that's what today is there for. But that does me a little bit concerned because institutions are still quite cautious. And then secondly, we're back in greed. We're back in greed, and that's that's greedy. What does it mean? Well, what's the general rule? Well, you sell here and you buy there. That's sort of the idea for long-term investors. It's a little bit nonsense. For the index, this might actually apply. So if you're buying the S&P 500, that might well be a good rule. But no, there's still plenty of stuff we can buy. But we need to be a little bit more selective. I think that's really what this is all about, is being a bit more selective. After church, okay, hopefully church finishes by 8 p.m., right? Or is this an evening church? Well, if it goes from like, when I used to go, I went to a Methodist school. We had church every Sunday. It was actually quite fun. The Reverend was a very nice guy. He was a sailor. So every story was about sailing, about an hour and a half on Sundays. But he was a good storyteller. I actually quite enjoyed that. But yeah, so hopefully by 8 p.m. you guys will be free. Your screen isn't being shared. Oh dear. Oh dear. There we go. All right, let me let's go back very quickly then. So this is retail buying at the slowest pace since 2024, right? You can see that there. Very slow buying. So please do your bit and go and buy some shares. Fear and Greed Index is back into the greed territory. It's like 1983 or something is back. And then this one here, I hadn't shown you yet. This is from Goldman Sachs. So Goldman Sachs, like all major banks and hedge funds, they now track social media sentiment. And it's the light blue line, not the dark blue line. Again, the person at Goldman Sachs who only has 2 colors. Maybe he's colorblind and he can only see blue. I mean, maybe we're being harsh on the fella. This here is the sentiment index. And we're here, which is how high? It's pretty high. The last time we were that high was 2019. What happened in 2019? I actually don't know. No, it was a pretty good time. It was just before the whole COVID thing collapsed, right? The markets were doing pretty well in 2019. So what does that mean? It means everyone's bullish. It means a lot of people have already bought. It means combined with the retail buying data, maybe there's a little bit less money floating about, right? Just a thought, just to be a little bit more cautious, especially with the stuff that retail seems to particularly like. Stephen, you're colorblind. You only see one line. Now we have a problem, don't we? There are several lines on the screen. I'm sorry about that, Stephen. Right. You can see my screen now. The market's in greed. Why is it that retail purchases are showing at such a low level? Well, doesn't actually factor into how CNN computes this. This is mostly about momentum. So if you go on the CNN website, it does actually explain that. It's probably the only useful thing they've ever produced. I honestly, I was in a hairdresser's 2 days ago. I'm sure you can tell, can't you? Don't I look like I just need a haircut? Probably, right? And they were playing CNN above me where someone was washing my hair. And God, it's junk. It's such a load of trash. It's just special interest advertising, the entire thing. Honestly, it is an absolute shocker, I thought. It was just like basically one farmer advert after the next, but packaged as news. It was incredible to see. I don't watch TV usually, so I don't usually get to see that kind of stuff. And then we're looking at it like this morning. So shall we have a look at some of our favorite stocks? Before we do, a quick announcement. Trade Vision, which is the app we've been building for a while to give you guys access to the best data. We just put this out. Flow data for the dark pools daily. All right, so this is yesterday. You can see where the most money flowed in and how bullish it was. And you have to always take this with a little bit of a pinch of salt because you don't know people's full portfolios and why they're doing it. There could be hedging and all sorts, but it's still a useful piece of information that you otherwise don't have. So that's available to you guys now. There's a free trial to Trade Vision. If you haven't seen that yet, you can see the actual trades. You can see it by ticker. NVIDIA, for example, somebody knew something, which is always the case. So you can also be that somebody who knows something if you want to sign up for that. It's as I say, links down below, felixfriends.org/tradevision. I can put a link in the chat as well. There it is. There it is. That's how you get access to that. I can spam in here, can't I? It's my chat, isn't it? Yay, yay, we can do it again. To the 360 of you who hit the like button, I appreciate you. I appreciate you very much. To the 3,200 of you who haven't, Winston says, you know, he's going to bite you. Actually, he wouldn't. He's just too nice, really. He bit me once, but he was trying to bite another dog. I was just in the way. So what do we got here? We've got the S&P 500. Looks like it's gapping up again, which is nice. Yesterday was like a funny candle, wasn't it? Sort of like that. We didn't do anything. We just didn't do anything all day long. We just didn't do anything. We just woke up and we went to bed. Today looks a little bit more promising as we're gapping up a bit more here. And we look at the Qs, the NASDAQ QQQs, and very, very, very impressively, we are here, which is significantly above the recent highs and could spell the beginning of another rally after rally after rally. But bear in mind, Trump's likely to come out with a new tweet of tariffs are back, guys. And what's that doing to the fear out there? Well, the fear is at 19 right now, which is, again, pretty good. Now, yesterday we were at 18, so it's you know, sort of, oh no, this is the, hang on, Thursday, 18 or at 19? Where are we? This is confusing me. I guess we're a bit confused on that one, but no, we seem to be at 19, which is just the live data here. So, you know, we can live with that. It's yet lower than the last 2 days. So that's still pretty positive. And if you look at some of our favorites out there, NVDA has come out with, we can look at Rigetti in a second as well. Absolutely. David says, you all absolutely need to get trade vision if you are at all serious about this. David, I appreciate that comment. And I agree with you. I agree with you. I think it's a brilliant tool, and it's getting better and better and better. If you knew what we had in store, actually, you know what we have in store, don't you? Because you can see it. If you click in the top right here and look at the feedback and product roadmap, you can actually see. Can you see? You can see what we've just done, you just finished, and what we're working on. A lot of stuff. Actually, light dark mode's done, isn't it? Yeah, a lot of stuff coming onto the mobile version as well. Dark pool's coming out to the mobile version very, very shortly. I just played around with it. Winston loves Chewy. Yeah, we can have a look at that in a second as well. But look at this for a movement for a stock that's basically stole 8 billion revenue from NVIDIA. How does that work? Well, it's the trade restrictions. So NVIDIA would have delivered an extra 8 billion in revenue, but they still beat expectations. It's pretty extraordinary, isn't it? So we are back to February highs, which is very, very impressive, which brings us very close to all-time highs. So NVIDIA is back, my friends. Tesla also. Elon has officially retired from his stint in government. He seems a little frustrated by the whole experience, because it's easy to say, I'm going to do a lot of things. But then when you want to do it, well, all the people who've been there for 50 years, they're like, nice try, Sonny. We're going to try and slow you down. And you won't be here, and we'll still be here, because we're like 150 already. And I think that's really kind of what's happening over there. So yeah, changing things in politics is a lot harder than it looks. But Tesla opening up quite nicely here. Looks like it's up about 2% or so, which is nice. Our market opens in 11 minutes. And that is because Elon said that a Tesla has been driving around Austin, Texas, looking for lunch, but nobody was behind the steering wheel. And that's the first time that's been done. And that they're going to launch, the rumor is, the Cybercab. So autonomous taxis on June 12th. And that would be sort of the real future for Tesla, because it means they're no longer selling cars, they're now selling a service. Right? Very, very different. Why? Well, service margins are much higher, much more profitable. It's recurring revenue. You can get a subscription to it, right? Like Uber has subscriptions, right? So you can get some really, really nice money coming in there. So that's going to be a real game changer for them, I think. Are dark pool trades only executed during normal market hours? Yes, because there are options trades and there is no pre or post market for options. Any other stocks you want us to look at, or should we just leave it at that? Let's look at some of our other favorite tech stocks here. Palantir is up 1.1%. That still looks very, very nice. Why does it look very, very nice? Because we are back at what was once the all-time highs, these here, right? So that's pretty good. So we're back at that, 125, 130, I believe, is where the resistance sits. Yeah, 130. So you need to move up a little bit to kind of crack out of that, but it still looks pretty positive there. UNH, that disaster, that's still there. And if you looked at our dark pool data for yesterday, I think that was one of the interesting bits that I sort of stuck out to me. I thought, wasn't UNH on here? Yeah, here at the top, 27 million, and like look how 80% of the flow is bearish, basically. Only 20% is bullish. That's pretty harsh. So yeah, this is still a falling knife. Just do yourself a favor. Just promise yourself to stop buying cheap stocks or stocks after the dip or the collapse, or just stop doing it. Just stop doing it. When something drops as bigly as this one here, then Winston says, go sniff around somewhere else. See? Go try and sniff somewhere else. One that he does like is Chewy. He got me into that one, didn't you, Winston? And look at that one. Isn't she a beauty? Chewy is a real beauty. Up another 0.25%, 0.5% here this morning. For quantum, is Google better longer term than Rigetti? Probably. I mean, the whole quantum thing is just pure speculation, right? It's pure speculation. There's no money in that basically at present. So we're running it as a pure speculatory trade, not as something that I'm going to hold on to until, you know, my temples are gray. Wait, they're already gray. So no, but you know, we can still make money out of it. We have a few of these up open here that are doing quite nicely. QSI is green again a little bit this morning, isn't it? I was green yesterday. No, it's actually gapping down a bit today. But well, worst case scenario, you get stopped out of it, which is also okay. A lot of you talking about ELF. ELF. Well, that's looking good, isn't it? That's looking very good. Very nice breakout there above the resistance, above the 150. It's been a nice consolidation down here. Looks very good. So yeah, looks like a nice one. What about INQ? Winston, any thoughts on INQ? Winston? What do you think that means? I think he's saying you're a little late, but it looks positive. But the volume is falling off. There it is. The volume's falling off, which is something to a little bit bear in mind. So I would be buying this if it breaks out above the 4-day high, which it hasn't. That isn't financial advice. You've got to come to your own conclusions on that one. And you will lose money unless you put in some risk management. I haven't got MetaPlanet in here yet. We haven't got OTC tickers in here, but I can open it up here somewhere else. So I did a video on this one yesterday, and this is one of those speculators again. It's a crypto play, a bit like MSTR, but it's Japanese, so it's probably tastier. And that's not doing a lot. I wanted to buy it yesterday. I had a buy order set up at 780, but it didn't get triggered, even though we actually went that low. So we'll try again today. I'm not greedy. I'll just, you know, if I miss it, I miss it. Don't particularly care. But yeah, it looks like an interesting one if you watch that video there. What else we got? SoFi. And, well, it's just going sideways, really. Not a lot happening there. It's up a little bit pre-market, just with a whole kind of momentum, but it's just not doing anything at all, really. So, you know, it is what it is. Topaz says absolutely confirms teached rules. Thank you very much, Topaz. They kind of work, don't they? MTPLF, a $50 foreign transaction fee applies to this order. Okay, might do. A lot of you also in the comments going, you can't buy this in my broker, and you can't buy this in this country. And I was like, well, I didn't say you could. And you could use a different broker. And lots of people in the comments actually wrote the brokers that they can't buy this on, but people don't read it. They just sort of go, it doesn't work. And I think it's a mindset. It's just like looking for a way to fail. It's a bit harsh, maybe. Maybe you're feeling a bit harsh this morning, but it's a true thing. People are often going, "Oh, it's too late, it's too early, it's too this, it's too hard, it's too far, it's the wrong broker, I can't buy it, there's a fee," all that kind of stuff. And it's just an excuse to not learn, right? I'm never telling you should buy a stock just because I'm talking about it. I'm just saying to you, here's an opportunity. These are the reasons people are talking about it. These are the reasons it might be a good thing. Here is also the reason why it's a crazily risky thing, which is what crypto, generally speaking, is. And use it as the basis of your research, not to go and hit the buy button. So maybe your broker's doing you a favor because you just gone and hit the buy button when you didn't really understand it, right? Fabio there, hello, my friend. You can buy it in Schwab, true. Negativity not welcome, says Michelle. I guess I was a bit negative there, wasn't I? I was a bit negative. Yes, it was my fault entirely. AMD, most of you guys obviously absolutely lovely, but there's always one. Actually, there was one, what was the thing this morning? Actually made me laugh. Oh yeah, somebody wrote, "You're 12 months too late." Like, brilliant. I always know there's one. Like every video I make, there's always like the one comment, the one loon who comes in and sort of says something like that. And it actually makes me smile nowadays. AMD, nothing's going on there, my friend. Still absolutely nothing. On a day where NVIDIA is smashing it, AMD is doing nothing. Nada, nichts, zero. Still not a buy in my book. How's the VIX actually measured? The VIX is a little complicated. I'm going to make it simple for you. It is essentially a futures contract. The easiest way I would look at that would be when people buy put options. Do you know what a put option is? So when people who buy puts, that's generally an insurance. So they're worried the market's going to go down, right? So the more puts people buy, so more puts means higher VIX. That's essentially the easiest way you can understand that. Have you bought cat toys yet? Yes, actually, I think we got another cat tree today. They are very cute, these little kittens. They're crawling around everywhere, mostly in the kitchen for some reason. Do you speak German? Yes, I do. Yeah. Show me your papers. What else have we got in here? You can buy it at RBC Direct Investing for Canadians. Well, there we go, Savia. Thanks for sharing. Edward, would Southeast Asia be a better place to retire than the US or the West? Well, my friend, it's a personal choice. Some people seem to like the cold weather. Some people seem to like snow. Some people live in Antarctica. Maybe that's a bit extreme. Siberia, some people choose to live there. Some people choose to live in Germany. So it really depends. Just go visit it, my friend. Literally, just go visit. Go and go to the places you're thinking about. Rent an Airbnb house for a week. Make it a 2 or 3 week trip if you can. Stay in a different place for a week and talk to people, see things. You gotta like a place. I think it's a personal decision. I don't think there's a right or a wrong place to live. I think it's the question of, are you happy there? I live mostly in Hong Kong, somewhat in Europe, sometimes in the UK a bit. I also vagabond around Asia quite a lot. But yeah, I like certain bits of Southeast Asia. Not all of it, but some of it. And I would just go where people are nice. That's usually it. And where it's safe and, all that kind of stuff. And government isn't getting in your way and where you can live in peace. I think that's usually the for me, sort of the rules. So during COVID, I did a whole sort of worldwide whistle-stop tour, and I looked at the Caribbean, and I looked at, I was in Monaco for a while, and there's lots of places like that. And I must say, I'm very, very happy to be mostly back in Asia because I just enjoy being here. As I say, personal thing, my friend, the only way you're going to find out is if you actually go. So what else have we got here? Ding-a-ling-a-ling. Okay, the bell. All right, so this is the bell experiment number 6,388. This is a very loud bell. If I ring it here, you won't be able to hear it because of something called noise control. So I'm going to ring it under the desk and see what happens. Can you hear that? I think you probably can't hear that, actually. Let me see that. No, you still can't hear that, can you? Okay, we're gonna have to probably get a digital bell at this point. But anyway, it's a nice old antique bell. I thought it would do a good job, but there we go. Politics, my friend. Personal thing for everybody. I don't like politicians anywhere in the world, particularly. So I prefer to be in places where they don't bother me. As long as they don't bother me, I'm very, very happy. But that's just me. Slightly better. Barely, right? Barely. Get a bell sponsor. Very low. Yes, here. We should also do that. So it gets completely filtered out. I guess it's a very loud, sharp noise. So it's probably the mic doing it. We've got NVIDIA Broadcast on to make this a little bit more palatable for you. And they're probably all filtering it out. So that digital bollocks that's doing it. Right. So Edward, I try the Philippines. Very nice people. I go there a lot. I have a lot of very good friends in the Philippines. Just depends on what you like. If you want to live on a beach, brilliant. Manila is amazing people, but it's a little chaotic. I mean, in terms of traffic and so on. But again, it depends. Maybe you just want a nice place and you want to sit in it, in which case it might work. Or you want something more green or go to the mountains or whatever. There's a lot of beautiful places there. Okta. Okta, I mentioned, it's true. And I looked at that the other day because it did actually break out, didn't it? And for some reason, we didn't buy it. I don't know why. The order came in triggered it too late, and I cancel all my buys every week. So I set up all my buy orders on a Sunday for the week, and then either they get triggered or they don't. And then the following Sunday, I cancel them all. But as it's down horribly this morning, it was probably a good call. Earnings came in terribly for some reason. How much is that down by here? Well, from the day before, it's down about 15%. It's actually not that bad, but yeah. So for some reason, we never got into that one, which is, I guess, a good thing in hindsight. Bahamas. Yeah, I visited Bahamas, which is also nice. Hum while you're ringing it. This is going to get very, very silly, isn't it? I'm thinking bunker living. Well, if you enjoy, concrete, some people do, seriously. They say, oh, isn't this concrete charming? I'm like, are you mad? Have you not seen Georgian architecture? Come to Bucharest. Yes, beautiful, but too cold for me. I don't like places where you gotta wear socks. Seriously, that's one of my rules. I will not live somewhere where I have to wear socks. Just refuse. Apple. Yeah, it's flat basically, right? But you'd expect it to do a little bit better than that. How's NVIDIA doing? NVIDIA is doing excellently at 5.3% up here this morning. Well deserved. I mean, very, 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 very good earnings, I thought. Or pants. Well, yes, shorts are preferable. I do wear trousers when I go to nicer places. I have the same First and Second Amendment rights as the US. Says Maverick. You got really convinced by the whole US, propaganda machine, right? You see, if you live in some place that's safe, you don't need guns. Isn't that the Second Amendment? You just don't need them. So if you live somewhere unsafe, quite a good idea. I agree with you on that. But if the place is safe, then you don't need them. So I like places that are very safe. But if they're not, yeah, more for it. I'm all for it. Quite hard most of Asia, it's very hard to buy guns. I mean, legally, that is. Hong Kong, almost entirely impossible. Well, you can own them, but you have to leave them in the gun club, and you can't travel with it. You go to jail for 10 years or something, no questions asked. So that's not really worth doing. And a lot of places in Asia are like that. And that means there's no gun crime, which actually works. But if they didn't enforce that, then, it'd be a problem. They'd have to change the law. So, right. You need the Second Amendment to prevent government tyranny. Well, you know what I actually like? A non-functioning government. Seriously, a government that doesn't really do anything. That's actually, I think, the ideal scenario. A small government that just sort of occupies itself with itself. Because I think very little positive has ever come from government. At least that's my cynical view on it. Anyway, let's move on then. Guns. Yeah, it depends on where you are, my friend. It depends on where you are. But yeah, once you let the guns out of the bag, you can never put them back. So then everybody needs a gun. That's kind of the way it works, right? If some people have guns, then all the people need guns. I think that's really the way that works. Right? Any other more, stock-related questions, my friends. I'll be super happy to answer those. Mara, as we're looking at the whole crypto thing. So what do you see with a thing like Mara? Well, it's consolidating, right? I think that's fair to say. Nice little rally up here on earnings, and it's been doing absolutely bugger all since. It got capped by that purple line there, which is what? Anybody who knows, put it in the chat if you know what that line is. It is the 150-day moving average line. Congratulations to those of you who got that right. So it's not bullish. It's not bearish. It's like a sideways exhaustion sort of a thing. So that's what I see. Sorry for the caps. That's okay. Very Taoist, is it? So there's a thing as the S&P 100. There is, yes. I don't know if we have it on here. We don't have everything on here, but yeah, there is, of course. S&P 100, there's an ETF for it, bunch of them actually. It's an index. One is the index and OEF is the ETF. So it's the largest 100 shares, which means you own 400 less rubbish ones if you buy the 500. Oh, the knife crime. Yeah, knives are largely an imported problem. I mean, growing up there, the only people who ever had knives were Turkish immigrants. Not a very PC thing to say, but it's true. So Europe's full of knife crime, as is the UK, but it's imported. It's voluntary. Because in that sort of Middle Eastern Arabic culture, you know, a boy gets a knife or something, it's sort of a manly thing to carry around, and then inevitably there is knife crime. So it's a voluntary crime problem, I would say. What else we got on here? Elf. We just looked at Elf. But yes, it's exciting. It's very exciting. It's up 31%. Yay! Woohoo! So are we buying it here? Who wants to buy Elf at this level? I wouldn't, because it's a little elevated. I missed it, basically. Does it matter? No, why not? Because there are dozens of other stocks that are on my buy list for the week, and Elf wasn't on it. So that's okay. We missed it. Never mind. What about Archer? ACHR even. ACHR, which is, well, what's it doing? Not a lot, right? So it's back in that sort of resistance zone from January, from February, from where we last broke out, but didn't. So it's not doing very much at all. Celsius, how's that whole sector doing? Nothing, but that's okay. So we get this very beautiful textbook kind of sideways pattern. And if and when we break out of it, it's probably going to do very well. But for the moment, it isn't. It just managed to careen below the 50-day moving average line. So it's not looking particularly brillante. What else have we got in here? Anything else? Anything else we need to see? Let me see if our dark pool data is coming in yet. Can we select Thursday yet? Cool. This is the first day I'm actually seeing this live. Very cool. So a lot of bullish buying going into NVIDIA. That's the top flow for the day. S&P, Tesla, NASDAQ, followed by Russell, Gold, Amazon, Broadcom, and a few others. And you can see the premium, the whales are basically paying for this. And bearish flow, also NVIDIA, which is always interesting, isn't it? It's the same amount, actually. So it's still bullish, but it's the same amount. And it's just because, well, people are hedging, people are exiting, all sorts of stuff. Tesla also, and a lot of these obviously are just the big boys that are always going to be in there. But it is interesting to see sometimes what is going on there. So let's have a look at the NASDAQ to round ourselves sort of off. And the NASDAQ is up 1 percentage point. The fear index is the good old VIX is at 19. Yay, it's below 20. It's below 20, which is a good thing. At one point, we're apparently at 18, but it's below 20, which is pretty good. And can you look at that with a white background, Mark? Even though the dark pool. Yes, there you go. You can. Prettier in black, isn't it? I think it's prettier in black. I think the chart, I actually prefer it in white, but I know for a lot of you guys, it seems too easy to see in black. So we did a poll on that. Black won by a landslide. Uber tanked. Uber is tanking. Is that on any particular news? Is that because Elon's back? Is that why? Waymo partnership? No, it doesn't say why. It might be the Tesla. You know, Tesla puts out those self-driving cars. It's a threat to Uber if they don't make them available to Uber. I think they will personally. But white chart, you want the poll again? Yeah, no, it was literally like 80% or something. It was a very, very, very clear majority for the black chart. So we're not going to re-poll it just because we don't like the result. This is not some sort of political democracy where they tend to do that. We didn't like the result. We think it's undemocratic. Let's do it again. And remove the candidate we don't like. Brilliant, isn't it? You gotta love Western democracy. Scott, Tesla's putting out an 11K car, which will be in fleet. Seriously, is that the what is that? The Model Cheap, Model C? That could be something. Well, you know, you're gonna need a lot less components probably if you haven't got a steering wheel and pedals and all that kind of stuff. You can probably make it cheaper, can't you? I would imagine that could make it a lot cheaper. You don't need a lot of the stuff that you currently have, the whole kind of cockpit thing, the display. You don't need most of that really. You just need a big screen so people can play games or whatever they do when they're in the car. Do you own some stocks or ETFs permanently, says Enrico Schönenberg, which is a rather Germanic name. Enrico, not so much. I do. Why? It makes my family sleep better at night. That's seriously the reason. I believe I can make much better returns than buying an index or something. But happy people and peace is worth a lot. So for me, it's about 50-50. So 50 for me is if half of it is actively managed, the other half is not, and works very well for me. So, but everybody's obviously got to find their own you know, whatever works for you. Safe place, Japan. Japan is a very safe place, actually. It's a lovely place. I love the Japanese. I don't know if I could live there all the time. I would actually really fancy living there for like a year or something. We were thinking about that. But all the time, I don't know. It's a very like rules-based society, which is lovely. It's beautiful. But I'm not the guy who complies with rules all the time, except for trading. In other places, I could get, you know, a little bit rebellious. I got expelled from school for being rebellious. So I'm not sure I could last for a long time, but I do love visiting it. So why don't you make it 60-40 or 70-30? Well, it's, you know, it is what it is. It is the number it is, and I'm very happy with it, which is, I think, kind of the key thing here. Come to Japan, no capital gains tax the first 5 years. Well, where I am, there is no capital gains tax ever. So not a huge motivator, my friend. But I know that after 5 years it gets worse. Living in Japan is so much better than living in Hong Kong. Okay. I mean, it's, you know, each their own. What car do you own? I own a very, very exclusive 7-seater Toyota. Why? Because I can sit in the back of it and it's quite comfortable. I occasionally drive it. Japanese get secretly pissed when you don't follow the rules. I know they get very upset, and I don't like to upset people. So I try very hard to follow the rules, but it's almost impossible as a you know, foreign devil to follow the rules. So you'll inevitably piss people off, and that's never my intention. Right, my friend, our politics sometimes get the better of people, I see. I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you want to actually learn, I mean, really learn, then come and join me on Sunday. First time and probably the last time we'll ever do a Sunday live webinar where I actually teach you the rules that the most successful investor for the last 50 years have been using. It's sort of Wall Street's little secret. I'll show it to you. And I know many of you have already learned it because I see that in the chat here. I see a lot of our students in here. Maybe if you're one of those, share what you make of the rules in the chat to inspire some others. But it's a game changer. So if you want to change the game and actually know the rules, because there are rules to this game that's called the stock market, and actually come out a winner and get to financial freedom and retire earlier and retire better and all that wonderful stuff, then come and join me on Sunday, 8 p.m. New York time. That's at felixfriends.org/webinar. And I wish you a beautiful rest of the day. All the best, guys.